Wrapped up the Board of Supervisors meeting, and I wanted to share quick highlights of some of the key decisions. So we didn't have a whole lot of things on the agenda, but we had quite a few things that took quite a bit of time. So there were two big items today that were part of the kind of bundle of lessons learned from Project Blue. So today we passed two new policies. One is about the use of non-disclosure agreements, and the other is around what's been called an enhanced due diligence process. It sounds a little government ease, but what it really is about is ensuring that we are doing environmental impact reviews that are commensurate, if not more robust, than the economic analysis of projects. So anyway, I'll dig back more into that. Let me come back to the non-disclosure agreements. So obviously I was very concerned about learning that I was subject to a non-disclosure agreement that I didn't know anything about. But then moreover, also was told that I couldn't get access, I couldn't get any information because of the non-disclosure agreement. So I was both party to it, but yet that got me no privileges to understand what was going on either. So we, working with the administration, got a whole new policy across the finish line today that outlines, I think, it does a number of things, but the things that I am most excited about are, one, it creates a 90-day sunshine period. So what this means is that after the Economic Development Department has entered into non-disclosure agreements, and they can last for up to 2 years, no more than 2 years, but there are some mile markers. At the first 180 days, the NDA will come to the Board of Supervisors in executive session. We will get a report out of some critical information, and we can decide whether the NDA ends there, if it is amended, and or extended on for another 185 days. And then before the end of that period, we can grant one more extension up to 1 year. At the point in which there is a decision by, maybe it's going to go before the project is going to go before the Planning and Zoning Commission or the Board of Supervisors, the new policy says that 90 days before the first kind of county public body is going to consider the project that is covered under the NDA, there has to be a 90-day sunshine period and full disclosure of all the information. The NDA ends and all the information is made public. This ties to the other policy about environmental impact reviews, where we have outlined what information needs to be gathered and what analysis needs to happen. Not just the how much this, that, and the other, but what are the potential impacts. So sunshine period, 90 days. The public will have full access to all the information related to the project. Second, this new NDA policy also clarifies what is considered proprietary information. One of my complaints about the Project Blue process was that the NDA was like a wrecking ball. And as a tool, I wanted it to be much more like a scalpel. I wanted it to be precise. So what we have now is a clarity around what can be considered proprietary and what cannot. What cannot is the amount of water that gets used, the amount of energy that gets used, so a number of kind of key areas. And then lastly, the new policy kind of defines who is covered in the NDA. I actually tried to make an amendment to get the Board of Supervisors and our district staff excluded from the NDA, but I was unsuccessful. But what will happen is that for that initial NDA, which is 180 days, then it comes to the board in executive session for a report out on what the project's scope, etc. is. We will have the opportunity as individual board members of the Board of Supervisors to decide if we want to be pulled out, excluded from the NDA, or if we want to stay in it. And then that will have to be negotiated, of course, with the other party of the NDA. But there's an opportunity, at least for us to be able to get out of it as individuals, if we don't want to be party to it. This is a big deal. We reached out to a number of organizations and talked to a few experts. Not a whole lot of NDA policies at the local level across the country that we or others who work in this field could find. So this is very significant, and I'm really proud that Pima County got it done. So the other piece I have mentioned is this new board policy. It's referred to as an enhanced due diligence, but it was started because of the fact that when Project Blue came to us, the greatest clarity that was shared was about the economic impacts, but we got almost no information about the environmental impacts, the public health impacts. The other, what does this mean to our land, air, water, climate communities who are already disproportionately burdened with pollutants and the impacts of climate change? None of that. So this new policy outlines a process by which our Economic Development Department will instigate, under certain conditions, this whole large, I'm just going to call it the environmental review more than the enhanced due diligence. We'll kickstart this robust process in which both all the county departments who have some relevance here will share their expertise and their analysis about what this project, a proposed project, might mean. Outside organizations, stakeholders will also be consulted and provide their expertise so that we get a full picture of what it is that we are considering. This is absolutely critical for good governance. This is critical for democratic practices and for meaningful public engagement. This is how we do our job, is getting good, solid, robust information. So this information won't just be kept for the Board of Supervisors to mull over and read. This will be shared with the public at the beginning of that sunshine period when the NDA ends, 90 days before any county body is going to be making a decision on the proposed project. It's a big deal. Other communities, larger states have processes to do this, but they are significantly, it's like the state of California so anyway, this is it's a big deal, and I'm excited that it's going to happen. We also today approved the recommendations from the Regional Affordable Housing Commission, who I am a big fan of. They do tremendous work. And what was brought to the board today was a recommendation for how to spend the county's annual allocation. This year our allocation is $8.5 million. And so basically the commission recommended that we split the money into two buckets. So there's a $5 million bucket that is broadly termed Build More. The $3.5 million bucket is the Keeping People Housed bucket. The Keeping People Housed is so incredibly important. As one of our staff, Bonnie, always likes to point out that the most cost-effective way, right, the cheapest way to build homes and housing is to keep people in their current home. So investments in the EELS program for eviction prevention and assistance, weatherization programs, utility assistance programs, home repairs. Those are the sorts of things that can help keep people in their home and prevent them from shifting into homelessness. So we're going to invest $3.5 million there. This is, of course, sort of the first part of what is a $250 million commitment from the board over 10 years for affordable housing. So thank you to all the members of the Regional Affordable Housing Commission, as well as members of the public who I know have weighed in and contributed to some of that thinking, but we really do have some top-notch folks who are developing solid plans to tackle one of the most important things that we could and should be tackling right now in Pima County. We also had a vote today on a proposal to kind of start building up a program whereby Pima County starts to build out greater presence in Mexico in a couple of key places, to be encouraging Mexican investment and involvement in economic development here in Pima County. The proposal was for $100,000, and to just start kind of getting, start gearing up. This would be a thing that would expand over time. I voted against it, and it's actually something that I was really excited about when I first heard about Supervisor Hines' idea, and he pitched it. I thought it was great. Obviously, one of our strengths in Pima County is our proximity to Mexico. And I think as much as we can do to really build that up and play that up is incredibly useful. But here's the catch. The funding, the $100,000 for this, would be coming from the county's $1 million contingency fund. This is all the money that we have that is, kind of helps us adapt and respond to emergencies and crises, things that come up. And, given that we are 8 months into one of the most tumultuous, far-reaching, unraveling of the social safety net in this country as a result of the Trump administration, and we're only 2 months into our budget, this $100,000 would comprise 10% of our contingency, of 10% of our 1 million contingency budget. We're already getting lots of requests from communities and nonprofit organizations who have been facing cuts, and so seniors, young people, refugees are not getting just basics of food, medical care. We're not covering the basics in our community. So while I support the idea and love the idea, I just think that I can't in good conscience chip away 10% of a small contingency fund, given how many unknowns there are ahead of us and the human crises that we are facing. The last thing I want to mention is that we approved a new subsidy from our wastewater department, and it's a new subsidy program. It increases the discount that people can get who are eligible, and it also added an additional category at the other end for those who are earning between 150 and 200% of the federal poverty line. So it's an expansion, both of who is eligible and how much of a discount people get. Incredibly helpful. And my one comment, so I voted in support of it, it passed. My one question to the administration was, when people get enrolled in this program, how can we make it even easier? How could we establish sort of a co-enrollment? So if you're getting the discount from wastewater, can you also automatically qualify for the discount from Tucson Water or from Global Water Resources or any of the other water providers or the other utility providers around Pima County? How can we make it easier so that people aren't having to fill out application after application after application, proving their income level, etc. Let's make it as simple as possible for people so that you fill out one application and it gets applied across the board. So we'll hear how we can do that soon. And again, thank you for reaching out. I always appreciate folks that come down to the Board of Supervisors. We had a really robust presence today of folks who were opposed to Project Blue, and I encourage people to keep leaning in and let your supervisors know what your priorities are, what's important to you. That ensures that we're doing good governance and we've got active public engagement. So thank you all. Have a great day.